Good afternoon, everyone. It's Tom Sidney Bushnell, aka Numbers, here from Psych Club, and on the Tom Numbers the show, I'm with a fabulous guest today, Mr. Barry Hearn. Barry, how are you?
Numbers, I'm feeling great today. Good to talk to you.
Good to be here. We're actually here at Gematria, so it's fantastic. Yeah.
Well, you're in an office. You're in an office.
It's not technically part of it.
Used to be stables 300 years ago. So you know there is progress eventually at Matrim HQ, and you're living the part of it there.
There you go. I'm a stable boy here in the stables. Well, it's a beautiful set of stables, I must say, Barry. So we're here, and for those of you, my audience will know obviously what I do with numbers, but some that may be new because Barry's here will want to know what are the numbers. So when I talk about numbers, it's technically called simple gematria, but numbers is the first letter of the alphabet. So A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, all the way through to Z or Z26, and you add up the numerical value of places and words, etc. So I've obviously done some for you, and you've got your brilliant book that I've read cover to cover.
Good.
My Life, Barry Hearn, My Life. Now we just saw just before we recorded. Barry Hearn, My Life, if you add it all up, so Barry Hearn comes to 110, which comes to the word president, which is kind of fitting.
Right.
And if you do Barry Hearn, My Life, it comes to 180.
No.
And yeah, and darts has always been a massive part of your life and your success, and you said probably even the biggest success in terms of commercial business. And then Eddie popped in because it's his birthday, but Eddie Hearn comes to 73, which comes to the word number. You're currently age 73, Barry. You're in your 74th year. The word gematria comes to 74. London comes to 74, and English comes to 74. But if you do Eddie Hearn and you do June 8th, which is today, June 8th plus Eddie Hearn also comes to 180. So I thought that'd be a brilliant way to kick off the show.
You know what? You are either the smartest guy I've ever met or a really sad bastard. That is amazing. It must have taken, I don't know how long it took you, but that is staggeringly. I mean, just shows you. Someone smarter than me once said numbers can say what you want them to say. And I think I'm going to put that at you as well.
Well, numbers can say a lot of things, Barry, for sure, but they can't say anything you want, because for instance, if I did the word tree, which is 48, which is Tom, it won't come up to Hearn. Hearn is 46, which is best. You know, simply the best, you know, with old Chris Eubank. But you can't get a 46 into a 48, you know. So, but there's obviously thousands of words in the English alphabet, so you can find them. But I guess the thing with me, the way it works is I just get kind of, I guess, thoughts come in, I work out what they are, and it's amazing the synchronicities that come. So it didn't take me long to do that.
Do you remember Stanley Unwin?
No.
Right,
no.
So you must do some research on Stanley Unwin. Stanley Unwin made a living out of transferring the end of a word to the beginning and created his own language on TV and became a very well-known comedian on the back of changing words. And I think there's an opening here for you, Tom, is that you could actually have conversations in numbers.
Yeah.
Be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, or even part.
I just need a great promoter, Barry.
Honestly, I know the best in the world. I know the best in the world, and that's 48. You know, but it's for you to come up with it. But just look at Stanley Unwin. You'll be surprised how much the two of you have got in common. And by the way, he's probably been dead for 30 years, but he was a very famous figure, linguistic expert. He used to call himself. Okay,
Stanley Unwin. I'll look at that.
Yeah,
fantastic. Yeah, thank you.
Pleasure.
So, Barry Hearn, My Life. It's a fantastic book. There will be a link. I'll put an Amazon link down in the description below so people can order it. But it's a really marvelous read, and I've I read it cover to cover. You start off with the 10 Commandments, Barry, and you go through it. You dovetail lovely because there's so many examples and vignettes that you offer to the readers. And then you go, this is rule number 3, or this is rule number 6, or rule number 9, you know. And I wanted to, I mean, a lot of it's covered in the book, but I wanted to ask your perspective now, because you've lived a really rich and fulfilling and successful and happy life. What's your perspective now in terms of offering maybe, you know, a few pieces of advice to serious, ambitious people, you know, entrepreneurs, sportsmen, actors, you know, whatever it is? What would you say, the things that you've learned throughout your course in history? What pieces of advice would you offer them?
I think it's interesting, you know, because you do get more reflective as you get older, and
yeah,
you actually, I also find that as you get older, you tell the truth more, because you become independent of thinking, financially independent, whatever. It's quite a good time to listen to people like me, because
yes,
I don't have any angles. I'm not trying to make money out of people. I'm not trying, you know, I'm not trying to live forever. I'm not trying to get through the pearly gates and be a nice person. I can just be, if you like, brutally honest. And I think the key issue for people starting up in life is there's a few trite sayings that people churn out all the time, and they're not necessarily wrong. You know, self-belief is absolutely vital. The ability to take the hard knocks, and like a boxer, you know, the fight's not over if you can still get up. You know, there's those sort of things are important. But the biggest thing is actually, when I look at the world, which frustrates me, is I see too many barriers for entry, which frustrate me, because I believe the world should be run on a meritocracy. Now, I do believe that we all have a responsibility to those less fortunate than ourselves. So I am a benevolent despot within my businesses. I have to have control, because I'm the best in the world, I believe, in what I do. But I have to take into account lots of other things other than just commercial success. So there's a responsibility that falls on all of us. But when you come down to, how do you say to a kid, how do you say to Barry Hearn when he was 13 or 14 years old, you know, your life is going to change, you know? I don't want to give you the sad stories about, you know, living in a council estate, your dad's a bus driver, died early, your mum was very dogmatic and forceful and wonderful in that way. But it's all what goes into making us, and we all have to look at ourselves and try and have a conversation with a mirror. You know, go into a dark room on your own and talk to yourself. Number one, that's the most truthful conversation you're going to ever have, talking to yourself. Because I'm cynical with a lot of people. I don't trust necessarily what people say. They may have a different agenda, but I trust what I'm going to say. I can ask myself the embarrassing questions that other people are too frightened to ask me. And I can put my hands up and say, I got that wrong, without feeling as if I've let the world down. So the secret of success really is to be honest with yourself, but to believe in yourself and to know that it's not going to be easy. So we go through 3 stages in life, I think. Number one is we go through Mr. Selfish stage, where you want to be successful so bad. And again, looking at mine, if you read the book, you'll see I was destined to do well. I had a work ethic that other people couldn't live with. I wasn't a genius. I had enough sense to take opportunities when they presented themselves. But what you want to do is you've got to be selfish. There are times when you do ride roughshod over other people, other people's ideas. Maybe you're not the best father, the best husband, or because you are focused. And that focus is what's going to drive you. It's not a pretty sight. It doesn't make you a nice person. But without that focus, you probably won't survive. You'll duck out somewhere mid-fight, mid-12 rounds of the fight. You'll duck out. You'll settle for something. Selfish don't settle. Then when you reach a certain amount of success, the selfishness just begins to ease away, and you become a better father, a better husband, perhaps a better businessman, taking a bigger view. And that's when you start to widen your horizons, because as you grow up, as you start in business, you have no idea where you're going to end up. That's a journey that you pass on, and you must constantly evaluate where you are. That's phase 2. Phase 3 is when you reach that land of milk and honey and things are going okay. You mustn't be complacent, because that's the biggest killer in business. But you now can afford to, perhaps having looked after your family, Perhaps you can start looking after your community or where you came from. But the overriding principle is diversity and fairness. So it doesn't matter if you're fat or thin, Christian or Muslim, black or white, male or female. It matters how good you are and how hard you're prepared to pursue it. There should be no other limits on you. And that's a constant challenge, and you will come across obstacles. Your job, if you're special, is to get past those obstacles down to by merit of your own activities and brains and principles and what you've learned. Consider business just to be another sport. Well, we want to win. We want to win like mad. So we're going to prepare properly. We're going to be so committed. We're going to sacrifice because we want to win. And that's where numbers comes in, because numbers don't lie to you. So you go to company's house, you check the numbers. You do a budget, you check the numbers. You find out if you're successful, not just by numbers, but predominantly by numbers. And then you look at yourself in the mirror and say, am I having fun? If the numbers are good and you're having fun, you, my son, have cracked it.
Fantastic. Well, you're right, Barry. I mean, numbers they're just they're incredible. And sport is 88, which is a beautiful number. You know, you get the triple eights in the casinos and things. And
it's also a lucky number in China. Number 8. It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's that eternal wealth resurrection number. Yeah, fantastic. Also, as well, you're like this. So Barry is 64, which is many say that the highest suit in the deck of cards is the spade. Spade is 45. There's been a lot of 45s. You've got Trump. You mentioned briefly the casino in your book. Trump was the 45th president. 45 is effect. It's spade, but spades with an S is Barry, 64.
This is fascinating. You know, you're in danger of doing my head in here, because I'm going to be using this. I'm going to be using this, and I'm not going to credit you with it at all, Tom. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say, because people won't know. What you're doing is very smart. You're welcoming people into a little club that's quite exclusive. You're talking a different language, which is why Stanley Unwin is going to appeal to you when you look at it. Just go to YouTube, just Google it, whatever. Yeah. You will see the same attitude where you develop a following based on a methodology that has not developed a following before. That is a uniqueness of idea. Now, whether you can commercialize that is another whole challenge. But already I'm thinking of one of my clients is AAA, the gambling companies, you know. I never knew that 8 was sport. That's going to be used. That will be used in my next pitch. You have to do sport because of the numbers. My friend Tom told me, blah, blah, blah. So that's interesting.
88. That's it. 88 is sport. It's 88 is Trump, as I said. 88, yeah. It's purple, the royal colour, purple. It's Scotland, and I've spent a lot of beautiful time in Scotland, 88. So it's a magic number, really is, Barry. And you said about the exclusivity of this. So my channel's called Psych Club. I only started it during lockdown. And I've got 2 channels. I've got Psych Club. I've got 69,000 subscribers, and I set one up just last month, the Tom Numbers Show, which this will be on. Well, it'll be on both. It'll be on both channels, and we've got just over 8,000 subscribers. So for little old me, there's a lot of people that are tuning in and enjoying it, because it's a real magical thing. And someone like you, with your brilliance, you've spotted it, so
it's unbelievable. I mean, I'm not going to flatter you too much, because it sounds bad because we're talking, but this will have an effect on me, and this will be used. Good. I'll say no more than that. Let's see where it goes.
Good. We'll see where it goes. Good. And one of the other ththings that I really enjoyed reading through, that was a common thread through your book, Barry, you spoke about it, is fairness. You have to work hard. You have to be ruthless in sport. You have to be ruthless in business. Yeah. But I won't say this too much, but you do have a good heart. The word heart is 38. It's club. It's also gold. My channel is Psych Club, but heart is 38. It's club. there's a deck of cards, but it's also gold, 38 gold. And that principle of fairness, it's in your family. The last quote where you've got, it's not the 10 Commandments, but it's all the kind of quotes that you live by, and you've got it on your grandchildren's wall. And you talk about, you know, trusting in God and but being fair, and that's a thing. You know, I think it's a rare commodity. I think it's coming back. I think the days of people just being ruthless, is over. I think that's what I feel. But
when times get more difficult, fairness comes back into fashion, because people have to know who they're dealing with. They have to trust you. You know, we've built a reputation. I think I've built a reputation of integrity over the last 45 years of promoting events, where my handshake has always proved to be as good as any contract. And when you have to make a decision, who am I going to trust with this budget, or who am I going to trust with this amount of money, that comes back. You know, if you've got a good track record, you know, there's no secrets in today's world. If you've done something wrong, people will find out about it. And if you've done something right, then you have a startup advantage over your competitors. But I always think of Rockefeller. I think one of his greatest quotes was, you know, the best deals are the ones where everybody ends up with a bit of bread in their mouth. Yeah. And that seems to sum up why, you know, why should people do business with me, or why should I? And in the 10 Commandments, there is a factor in the book called thinking poor. You know, it's not a weakness to think poor, it's a strength, because you are aware that no matter how much money you've got, you don't want people to take the piss. No. You want to get value for money. And at the same time, you're aware in a competitive marketplace, you have to give people value for money, or they won't come back, or they will go elsewhere. So that's a lesson to anyone. Don't kid yourself. We have a world where, how many times have you seen people that are suddenly doing so well, and you think, oh, the lucky so-and-sos, you know? So many of these people are fur coat, no knickers. They're dressed to kill, but when you take away the outer layer, there is no substance. So, you know, you have to just run your life the way you want to be perceived to be, and you have to give everyone value, but you have a desire to get value yourself. I think, you know, one of the strange things in life is, and I think this is Commandment 10, which is not really a commandment, it's more of an amazing situation where when you need a helping hand, you're more likely to get a kick in the nuts. You know? And when you don't need any help, like me now, it's unbelievable. Obviously, I've done well.
Everybody wants you now, Barry.
Honestly, people they just queue up to give me things. See, why are you doing that? Why don't you give it to someone who needs it? Why don't you? It's just the way the world is. So you don't take it for granted, but you don't take yourself too seriously. That's a key issue to enjoying success. When you put your head on that pillow, if you've been straight with everybody and you've been fair and you think poor, you'll go to sleep nicely that night, my friend, and you'll have 8 good hours.
8, there it is, that magic number again. Of course. Yeah. What's the future hold for you, Barry?
It's a great question. You know, you've done several hundred interviews probably over your time. This is the happiest person that you've ever talked to in your life. Now, the good Lord may decide to end it all tomorrow while I'm playing cricket for Essex over 70s, or he may give me a few more weeks, or maybe a few more years, or even a decade or two. I don't spend 1 second of my life thinking about that. I like to keep in shape. I like to try to. I'm going through a new personal trainer at the moment who obviously didn't read the form properly when I told him I was 74. He thinks I'm 44. He's trying to kill me. That's okay. I'm competitive with everybody, including myself. Eddie and I have a great relationship as father and son because we compete on everything. I mean, how many copies of Eddie's book was sold? I want to beat that. And he'll come in and he'll say, you know, how many runs did you get last week? Oh, well, you know, I scored. I always remember with Eddie, it took me 30 years to get my first 100. And I woke him up and I was completely drunk. Lectured him about he must never give up. Never give up. And then he went back to sleep. But 3 days later, he said, I think I understand what you were trying to say. I said, that's good, Eddie. You're 15 years old. I'm pleased. What made you understand it? He said, I made 116 against Middlesex today. I'm like, oh, I think I want to kill you, you know? So that's the attitude you must have. For me, every day is a blessing. I know it sounds trite. I think there's lots of things I can do. I mean, I hate to have to say this, I would have made a really good prime minister. If I was 20 years younger, I'd have had to go at politics, because I look at it and I see so many things going wrong in this country. And I think common sense makes most of it go right. I'm no genius, but I know what's fair. I know the responsibilities, but I also understand the encouragement we have to give people like me, because we create wealth, not just for ourselves, but for those around us, the country, the taxes or whatever. So there's a balancing act, but it is a balancing act where everyone says, you know, have you got your bit of bread in the mouth today? So that is not going to happen at 74. I mean, I try and put in my tuppence on Taxpayers Alliance meetings and things like that, because I think we really got to get a grip with giving people hope for the future, but at the same time looking after those we have a responsibility to look after. And it is a balancing act, and it's never going to be perfect. But we live in an age of politicians using, you know, they use phrases like levelling up. Levelling up. What does that mean? Levelling up. What do you know about levelling up? You know, what do you know? What do you know about? I always remember one Christmas we didn't have any money, but we had 12 pullets, little chickens, tiny chickens.
Yeah.
My dad said to me, the chickens are going to have to go. It's Christmas. And he strangled 8 and I strangled 4. And we had a good Christmas. And then I read stories about people talking about levelling up. Don't make me laugh. Let's just be fairer with everyone and understand our responsibilities. Levelling up ain't going to happen. So it's a nice phrase to put on the front page of the Daily Mail. It don't work in real life. And I'm only interested in things that work. So what's for me? I'm getting involved in more projects. I'm doing some stuff in Dagenham, where I was born, with the youth zone there, which I absolutely love. I can see kids making progress and they're astonishing. There should be no boundaries. There should be no barriers. So just give people a start, and then it's up to them. You know, I'm not there to wipe people's backsides. Create opportunity. You know, we always say in the sports we deal with, darts, snooker, like, I can't help you to win. That's up to you. But I can give you the opportunity. And that's the end. And if you don't win, I'll be harsh with you, as I would be with anyone else. Get another job. Do something else, you know, or get better, or work harder. But don't come to me bleating, life's tough. Life is impossibly tough for a lot more people than just us when you look around the world. We're the lucky ones. We live in one of the greatest countries in the world, no doubt about it. Is it perfect? Of course not. Can we make it better? Yes, we can. But we start off with giving people that opportunity, and then we see how it goes. So for me, I'm just going to keep putting my nose into situations that I shouldn't. I'm going to keep talking to people like you. I'm trying to retire. You know how difficult it is to retire? I was supposed to retire last April. I got to tell you, I'm not good at retiring. There's things to be done.
Yeah.
I'm going to just, you know, I'm still going to play my cricket. I'm still going to go fishing all around the world because I love it. I'm lucky I can do things like that. But then I'm going to put the odd good shift in, and hopefully it will benefit some people.
I'm glad you brought this up. You talked about Christmas. Christmas comes to 110. Barry Hearn comes to 110.
Oh, 110. Now, what's the significance of 110 for Christmas?
If you spell the word out,
yeah.
C,
yeah.
third letter, so equals 3, H is 8,
no,
R is 18.
I know that, but what's this? But 110. So now I need some comparison with that and other things. So why is Christmas 110 so relevant? Is it 110%? Is it 110? It's not the 110th day of the year. God, where do we draw the comparisons?
Well, just for you personally. So Barry Hearn equals 110. Christmas equals 110.
Okay, stop there.
And
stop there. That's
president equals 110. Huh?
See, now that's genius. That's total genius. Because I always say, independently, we've never talked before. So if anyone's listening to this, I always say, people say, what's next for you? What's your life like? You know, you've had a wonderful time. I always say, every day is Christmas. Isn't that funny?
Every day is Barry Hearn.
Amazing.
It's real, buddy.
This is going to have an effect on me. I'm going to regret this conversation. It's going to take over my life. All right.
It's a new club. It's a new world. It's brilliant. And you said good. You said a good Christmas. Good is 41. 41 are actually my initials. TSB. Thomas Sidney Bushnell. TSB. Good. So good Christmas. TSB Barry Hearn.
No, Tom.
It comes to 151. Talking of Christmas, 151. So the great man himself. Christmas is all about Jesus Christ. 151 comes to good Christmas. 151 comes to Jesus Christ. So, you know, it's all connected, Barry. It's all connected. And Jesus is 74, and you're in your 74th year. Gematria, the numbers are 74. Both you and me are from London, 74, and we're both speaking together English. English is 74.
This is more than staggering. I'm trying to assimilate all this. And I need a book on it. I need a definitive numbers book.
There you go.
The significance through there. What did we say gold was?
Gold is 38.
And that's the same as?
So gold is 38. 38 is a club. Golden is 57, which is England. Tesla, the inventor, he was into time travel and things. He's the 57. But England is 57. Golden is 57, and 38 is gold. Africa is 38 gold. They've got a lot of gold, or did have, but I guess it's been put back there now. But 38, and you've talked about as well this. You've talked about the fire within. Fire within. You know, if you've got that fire within you, fire is 38, which is also gold. So if you've got that spark, if you've got that bit of gold in you, then you can achieve and move mountains like you've done in your life, you know, because you had that bit of gold, that 38, that bit of fire within you, 38. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, because when people say to me, and I said to you, which is, you know, people that know me now know that my bullshit days are over. You know, I just tell the truth now. So when people say to me, how's your life? And I say every day is Christmas, which we've already talked about. The other thing I always say, because it really, and Anthony Joshua raised this with me the other day, because he said to me, I love what you say. When people say, how are you? I always say, as good as gold. I always say, as good as gold. And Anthony said to me, do you know why I love that? Because there's a lot of people want to hear gloom and doom. Yeah. You know, how are you? Oh, I'm not well. You start talking about, I've done my back. I've done this. I've done that. I'm getting old. I'm losing money. Inflation's killing my savings. Blah, blah, blah. Everyone comes out with negatives. Good as gold. I don't have it. And if I had a problem, if I had a negative in my head, I'm never, ever going to share it with another human being. That's down to me.
Yes. Yeah. As good as gold, 121. 121's a golden jubilee. We just had the platinum jubilee, you know. So there's just, it just goes on and on, Barry. It's just, it's an amazing.
No, that's good. No, it's good. Listen, I'm a fan. I'm not blowing smoke up here. I'm a fan, and this will continue. This will continue.
Yeah. Good stuff. Well, my friend, it's been a real pleasure. Any closing remarks for my audience at Psych Club and at the Tom Number Show? Because we've got a man of integrity and success here, Mr Barry Hearn. Christmas 110, we've got him here. So yeah, any closing remarks for us?
I think what William Gladstone, one of our most famous prime ministers, said on his death.
You're going to go to the Gladstone room at Oxford on Monday. There's a Gladstone room there.
Oh, really? Well, he said his dying words were, I've been a learner all my life. I think we all should listen to that and all be open to learning all our life. There's no point in closing your mind. I mean, we live in an age, my mother sadly suffered from dementia for many years, Alzheimer's, until she died. Horrible, horrible time for the family and for her, of course. I do believe if we can keep our brain active, that we may have a chance to postpone that inevitable day. in the same way as that personal fitness can also have an effect on your enjoyment of life, how much you get out. Other people have said you only get out of life what you put in, and I think that's also very relevant. So I live in the world of no excuses, but I do live in the world of optimism, and I'm always prepared to learn and to listen. And today, in a bizarre way, I've learned something. So for that, Tom, I want to say thank you to you for a change. Instead of people expecting you to say thank you for your time, you've added something else that will not be lost on me. And as you know, I don't bullshit. And it's been fascinating conversation. And let me say thank you to you. And if your listeners enjoyed it, that's great. And if they don't, I don't really give a fuck.
Quite frankly, man, I don't give a fuck. I love that. That's a brilliant way to end, Barry. Well, that means a lot. That really does mean a lot to me. I really appreciate that, Barry. And, I might have said earlier, so the word heart is 52, which is Earth as well. So, think of the Earth that we're on, a heart that we're on. But golden, I mentioned a few minutes ago, golden is 57. And if you do the phrase a golden heart, so A is 1, golden is 57, heart is 52, comes to 110. Christmas, Barry Hearn. A golden heart, sir. I think you have one. I know you do. So
that's fabulous. Fantastic, Tom. Thank you so much for the conversation. It's been absolutely mind-blowing.
Thank you, Barry. God bless you. I'll see you soon.
Cheers, mate. Be good.
Take care. Cheers. Bye. Bye.